What is up, guys? Welcome back to the grand finals of the German World Championship Qualifier Nationals 2023, where we have one of the greatest deck builders in the modern Yu-Gi-Oh era, Dinkabui, taking on one of the most successful players in the Cashtira format, YCS London runner-up, Tom Kleinergraber. Now, watch here as Dinkabui, he sets 5 and passes turn, and this is where the critical mistake here of the game occurs. Tom decides to begin his turn.
Jetzt hier.
Da wird geklatscht
Wow,
in der ganzen Halle.
Die Leute lieben es absolut. Oh, und wenn man ganz schnell jetzt hier Big Welcome Labyrinth aktiviert, dann könnte ich mir vorstellen, dass Dinkabui hier vielleicht... Da kommt auf jeden Fall die Lovely. Es verlässt die Ariana das Feld. Das wird bedeuten, dass er auf jeden Fall eine Karte jetzt schon mal aus der Hand des Gegners heraushauen wird.
Sich das Ganze jetzt erstmal an. Da ist der Eradicator direkt.
Oh, direkt hinten dran. Und er wird sicherlich auf Zauberkarten gehen wollen. Okay, es wird zumindest der Kosmos-Zyklon angechained. Was wird da getroffen? Ja, es kann vielleicht auch noch darauf angechained werden. Oder Tom möchte nicht mehr Zauberkarten. Es ist ein feierlicher Schlag. Okay, und jetzt gucken wir uns die Hand an von Tom. Wie viele Zauberkarten sind darin? Eine Burf, ein Planet, ein Prosperity, ein Es sind nur Zauberkarten fast. Fast nur Zauberkarten. Die letzte Karte wird abgeworfen.
Und die wird gepoppt mit Lovely. Der gesamte Handtrip. 5 Zauberkarten wurden da rausgenommen. Tom Kleinergraber muss direkt passen. Ariana, das ist der Handshake. Dinkabui gewinnt die deutsche Yu-Gi-Oh! Meisterschaft 2023 mit dem absoluten Pseudo-FTK. Eradicator Epidemic Virus für 5 Zauberkarten.
Well, another card has entered the discussion once again. Eradicator Epidemic Virus has been a card that has appeared from format to format, but recently the discussion has hit an all-time high, with Dinkabui taking Tom Kleinergraber's life savings to become the German national champion. For those who were out of the loop, here's a quick reminder of what Eradicator Epidemic Virus even does. It reads: you contribute 1 dark monster with 2,500 or more attack and declare 1 type of card, spell or trap. Look at your opponent's hand, all spell and traps they control, and all cards they draw until the end of their 3rd turn after this card's activation, and destroy all cards of that declared type. This card is used to devastate strategies that have a heavy reliance on spell and trap cards, and when used in the right scenario is obviously game ending. However, this card historically has been offset by its very specific activation condition, needing a high attack dark monster so that all decks are not really able to play it. However, enter Labyrinth. Aww. A deck whose main strategy is to spit out high attack dark monsters and has the ability to set any normal trap card directly from the deck. Sounds like a perfect storm to me. Well, it's not all sunshine and rainbows or doom and gloom, depending on which side of the board you're playing from for this particular card. Eradicator Epidemic Virus isn't the universal deck destroyer that most people think it is. While yes, all decks play spells in some capacity, many of the current decks at the moment don't have their specific win condition based in spells and traps, with the exception, of course, being Runics. But even that deck plays a sub-engine that can sometimes push through an Eradicator. And we'll return to the point that Eradicator has a deceptively high activation cost. Decks that decide to run Eradicator, such as Sprite and Labyrinth, do have to make a sacrifice to their end board. In Sprite variants, they have to awkwardly maneuver into a gigantic Sprite and leave that non-interruption on the field as part of their end board. That ends up costing you real resources. And in Labyrinth, the cost of sacrificing one of your win conditions in order to take your opponent out of the game, not even guaranteed, is actually a huge risk. Take the example in this very game. Dinkabui tributes his lovely Labyrinth of the Silver Castle. Now think in this situation, if Tom opened a hand of monsters. After Dinka resolves his Eradicator, he is left with only 2 cards set and an Ariana in the hand. If Tom didn't open as unfortunately as he did, this game was definitely in a very awkward state, as Dinka has difficulty accessing his lovely Labyrinth in the graveyard, and with Ariana as his only piece of follow-up, he's in a very vulnerable board state. Of course, we're talking in hypotheticals here, but I'm trying to justify that this happening is more of a horror story than actually occurring every single time. However, we need to ask this question to properly assess Eradicator. what do we want out of a game of Yu-Gi-Oh? I think myself and many prolific players value two very particular things here in Yu-Gi-Oh. The ability to express your skill to the fullest and allow yourself enough creativity to tinker and toy with very unique strategies in the vast card pool that Yu-Gi-Oh enjoys. We need to make the distinction that Yu-Gi-Oh is different than chess. While chess is a 100% skill-oriented game where the more skillful player will win their game 99% of the time, Yu-Gi-Oh enjoys aspects of random chance as well as tons of creativity and curveballs that perhaps lower skilled opponents can still find edges in games over quote-unquote higher skilled opponents. We need to make the distinction that Yu-Gi-Oh is different than chess. This is a game decided by the cards you draw and the cards you put in the deck and how those match up with your opponent's decision before the game even starts. In chess, there is no random chance, but there also exists very little creativity. Chess can be boiled down to a perfect science by a computer. In order to craft the perfect game, I think we need a mixture of both of those. Now, in my opinion, cards like Eradicator do the exact opposite of facilitating skill expression and creativity in a card game. It limits deck building to the point where players need to reconsider playing spell and trap-based strategies when Eradicator is popular. And when a player activates Eradicator, its effectiveness is judged solely based on what your opponent draws. Sometimes it might not even matter that your opponent decided to build his deck against Eradicator because at some point, you might just draw a hand filled with spells, and oh well, kiss that hand goodbye and probably the game. As in Tom's case, he drew just about every single relevant spell card in his deck, and he definitely had cards like Ash Blossom and Ghost Spell, which don't inherently lose to Eradicator and actually deal heavy damage to the Labyrinth engine. But, of course, he had to leave the game by saying, it is what it is. Is that what we really want out of a game of Yu-Gi-Oh? So let me know what you all think. Is EEV a necessary evil, or is it too toxic and against what we play Yu-Gi-Oh for? Plug your thoughts down in the comments below. But until the next time a single card steals a premiere event, that's going to be it for this episode of Broken Yu-Gi-Oh! Check in here for more weekly uploads on the channel. And peace.